Jonathan Healy on Lunchtime, live from the Cork Chamber Annual Conference in the Radisson Blue Hotel in Little Island today. The theme, as I said earlier on, is helping to support small and medium enterprises to give them practical help with the issues that are facing every single business in this country today. The government has announced one initiative that we'll discuss in just a few minutes as to whether or not that will help, and it's in terms of lending. But I'm joined by a panel of some of the speakers who are going to be addressing the delegates at this conference today. I want to first of all go to Denis, who's the Vice President and Chief Technology Officer with IBM Ireland. Denis, good afternoon and thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Jonathan.
IBM, big company. Is it 3,000 staff you have?
3,000 people in Ireland overall right now.
There's a lot of concern out there that Ireland's competitiveness still hasn't reached the point at which big companies like IBM will be happy to stay here. But you're coming at it from a different point of view, that there is intrinsic value in staying in Ireland despite what would be seen as an uncompetitive edge.
Absolutely. I mean, we invest in Ireland because really we invest in people, I mean, first and foremost. I mean, the cost equation is important, there's no question about that. I lead a global team of over 500 people and we're based in the US, the UK, Ireland and Kuala Lumpur. So I see the cost differential across that team. But what's unique about Ireland is a flexible workforce and also to the capability we have here from a technology point of view, and really going not alone developing software, which is the business I'm in, but also driving the business globally. We sell our products internationally, and most of our business is international business. But having people that can transcend from technology to business value, and that's really important. And that's what we see more and more need in this country to have, is people that can bridge that gap and drive the business for IBM. So for IBM, it's more about driving the business rather than a pure cost discussion right now.
Okay, also with me here is Professor Frank Roche, who's the Academic Director at the College of Business and Law and the Michael Smurfit School of Business. Frank, is it frustrating from an educator's point of view that you're looking at all of these wonderful graduates, the type that we've just been talking about, and when they're coming to the end of their term in college, many of them think that there isn't a not realistic option of them staying in Ireland?
I think it's more fearful than frustrating, quite honestly, because we're taking in sort of somewhere around 1,100 students every year into what is essentially a one-year postgraduate kind of program in the Smurfit School, apart from maybe people that are doing the MBA part-time, and that would be a couple of hundred. I mean, there is a frustrating angle, and we're experiencing great difficulty on the demand side. I mean, people coming, they'd like to go to college, but maybe they can't get the money right now. They're also worried what's going to happen at the other end when they go through the year. Will they get a job at the other end? I think the results have been good. People are getting jobs. Nearly all the MBAs that graduated last year are in jobs now.
In Ireland?
Most of them in Ireland. Now, a lot of them are on internships and part-time jobs and temporary employment and things like that. But it's a start. And likewise, a lot of the MSCs that graduate, some of those are going to go abroad and they're going to go travelling anyway. But a significant number of them are getting work in Ireland. So the jobs are there still. The jobs are there with the growth companies. And the jobs are there sometimes on schemes, I mean, where they're being put in by schemes such as the Fusion programme with Intertrade Ireland and things like that.
What's the appetite like amongst those students? Because they're obviously products of a generation whereby they know the economy and where it is at. We're talking about the practical aspects of business today and how that will help grow businesses and create jobs in the future. Is there that drive amongst these young people, or have they been beaten down by what's happened here?
No, I'd say there's loads of drive among the students, plenty of drive. I mean, they're doing, it's spread into them almost by the time they even get to us. They've been so active doing project work, they've been so active doing loads of things. If you look at their CVs, you see that they've been very, very active all the way through their careers to date.
Young people coming through your doors.
No, they're really can-do people, yeah, and that's, I think, what's getting them the jobs.
Okay, I want to bring in our next guest here. Barrie O'Connell is a partner with KPMG. You're also involved with the Chamber of Commerce. There is a survey that you carry out amongst the members. I know you're involved here in Cork, and it's about confidence, and confidence is key in creating the jobs that we're talking about. How confident are members in the Cork Chamber that perhaps we're on the cusp of turning that corner?
I think the survey has been very representative of business sentiment over the last number of years. We started late 2008, 2009, and we actually saw a dip in confidence quite significantly around that time among our members, and trending downwards for the next 18 months or so. But actually the most recent survey now has started to show an upswing and trending upwards and showing positivity in the business. In terms of statistics, if we take 50 as being a median, the latest survey is actually showing in the 70s of business people being positive and confident about their business. I think even today, to see this level of SMEs attending this conference, Cork Chamber, shows the confidence that they have in their business and what they're trying to do.
Where is that confidence coming from, though? I mean, we still have ongoing issues about lending. The SMEs will still say that it's impossible to trade as they would want to because of a lack of credit.
I think the lack of credit is a significant issue, and that does come through in our survey. But in terms of being, the downsides, credit is a very significant one. However, if we look at other stats that we do in terms of staff numbers and people who maybe where that might have been falling, we're actually seeing that stabilising and not decreasing further. And also people in terms of next year and what they see for 2012 on turnover, they also see that stabilising. And I think from our perspective, stabilising to moving forward is definitely a positive sign for SMEs in this region.
Barrie, the government promised great things when they came in. They were going to reform the entire sector to make it easier to operate as a businessman or a businesswoman in this country. The clients that are coming through your door, are they reporting that yet, or is there a little bit of annoyance that it isn't perhaps moving as quickly as it should?
I think it's a fair comment. I mean, have they done enough? Could they do more? I think the government is enterprise focused, though. I think even John Perry being here today, there are 3 ministers focused on business sector, and I think they're making an effort in that area. I suppose it's not going to happen overnight, is one thing is important. And I suppose it also depends on what sector you're in. Certainly we see businesses that are in an export market, developing internationally, are getting on with their business. And I think if you look at even the Troika's view of giving us a satisfactory report card this week, I think we're doing all we can from a fiscal perspective, trying to get our house in order to create that environment that will allow companies to begin to thrive again. Yeah,
the Greeks did nothing. They got 50% off. John Mullins is the president of Cork Chamber. He's here as well. Minister John Perry is going to be addressing this conference later on. There has been some measure of movement today. The standardised lending application form, it doesn't sound like the most exciting way to kickstart credit again, but are you confident that that's going to do something? This is AIB and Bank of Ireland, the 2 banks which we effectively own, are now going to have just a simple way of applying for credit.
Well, I think it's the start of a process and not the end of one. I think to make sure that there is a standardised business planning application is vitally important. In many ways, what we do in the Cork Chamber and many chambers across the country is we advise our members how to put plans together. And that is a major issue for small and medium-sized enterprises. They're not familiar with major financial ratios that will be quoted to them by bank managers. So they do need that particular support. And one of the issues I've been discussing with Minister Perry is actually a voluntary mentoring programme whereby effectively people in business will actually help other people in business to present decent business plans and then get onto this template so that they can actually get lending.
But look, we're 12 months down the line. I remember being at a conference in Cork around this time last year. It was a different minister. It was Minister Billy Keller, if I'm not mistaken, at the time. They were talking about the Credit Review Office and how people should be beating down the door of John Strathone to make sure that they got the loan that they were entitled to. Yet here we are 12 months later, we've had to do something completely different.
The reality is, going back to what Barry said about our survey, only 35% of our members, and we have 1,000 members, are actually saying that they're satisfied with the adequacy of bank support. Of those who've actually applied for loans, only 3%, a phenomenal 3% only, have actually applied to the Credit Review Office.
Why is that? Why haven't they taken up this olive branch that's been offered by the government?
Well, I think they've actually hit so many barriers across the lending process that once they get the no, they feel that there is no recourse. And really, it needs to be put forward that the Credit Review Office is essentially an ombudsman, essentially for small business financier. And that really is what we're trying to promote, and actually highlighting the fact that, we can help at the front end. There needs to be a standardised process in the middle end. There needs to be an attitude quite clearly amongst the lenders that it's not all about improving the capital ratios per se in the balance sheet, that some of the liquidity that was paid into the banks effectively by the taxpayer needs to be delivered to businesses to create employment. If we don't do that, by the way, I predict we're going to be at similar levels of employment and unemployment next year and the year after.
On that point, I know that the word recession has been banned in the Cork Chamber of Commerce offices for good reason. We're here today, we're talking about businesses that are looking to the future. They want to expand. I mean, we'll be speaking to a few small business owners in a few minutes' time, and they'd say, yeah, we certainly want to employ more people next year. But do they still have one eye on the international markets? We saw from Europe last night, this Eurozone deal has been struck. Markets are responding favourably, but we don't know where the next banana skin is going to come from. And is that holding people back?
Well, I mean, this country actually has done more than any other country in Europe with respect to dealing with issues around bonds, around capital ratios of banks, and in terms of fiscal rectitude. The view of the organisations here is that 77% of them are confident in growth. If you look at the national statistics that are being put forward, this year we're expected to grow between 0.8% and 1%. Next year upwards potentially of 2.3%. Now, if that is not a hint to government and, more importantly, lenders to say, yes, we're on an upswing of the hockey stick, and it's about time actually we start lending into businesses, good entrepreneurs, such that we can actually create employment. Because if we don't do that, we have a fantastic export economy, but we have a domestic economy that's going to be like Japan, that fundamentally is not going to grow unless it is stimulated.
Okay, very good. Thanks very much, John Mullins, President of Cork Chamber. Just last question, back to Denis Kenneally from IBM. Denis, is the environment right now for IBM, I'm not asking you to give away any state secrets here, but for IBM to maybe perhaps grow their industry here in the next 12 months, 18 months, or could more be done?
Yeah, I mean, everybody is cautious. I mean, I won't be naive to say, we're in difficult times in the global economy, and IBM is no different to any other company. But, we're cautiously optimistic. I mean, we are employing people, we are investing very heavily in R&D. We have the research centre in Dublin that we are hiring in right now. And we look at all our businesses all the time. And we're also very much engaged with the SMB community because IBM, while it's a big multinational, the lifeline of, we also look at SMBs and we want to give something back to help that SMB community. And also that's where a lot of the technology innovation comes from as well. We're quite active in the acquisition front, and we really want to help those innovations and come to the fore and grow those over time.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you all very much for talking to us. This is Lunchtime on Newstalk with Jonathan Healy. We're live from the Cork Chamber annual conference in the Radisson Blue Hotel in Little Island in Cork, and as promised, we're joined by a number of people involved in small and medium enterprises to talk about what their plans are for the next 12 or 18 months. I'm joined by Mary Harney from Mary Harney Health and Safety Training, but I have to explain to listeners who obviously can't see you, you're not that Mary Harney.
No, I'm not, unfortunately, but I'm very proud to carry her name.
You get that a lot, I presume you do.
I do, indeed, and I suppose one of the reasons why I called the company Mary Harney Health and Safety was that while it is my own name, I recognise that it is a brand in its own right. And then I decided that I would continue to call the company Mary Harney Health and Safety Training. Okay, very good. Let's talk about it, because you started this business January last year. Was it after you were made redundant? Yes, I was made redundant in October 2009. And the story behind it really is that I had attended this conference on the same day, or the day previous to the day I was made redundant. So this is very poignant for me to be here today. And yes, I was made redundant in 2009. So in January 2010, I set up Mary Harney Health and Safety Training. My background initially would be in sales. I had worked in the health and safety industry as well. So I decided that I would marry my sales expertise and the expertise of trainers that I could engage. Now, people would have said you were mad to start a business in 2010, but are you at the point now where the business has bedded down and you're looking to the future? Yes. I would safely say that redundancy for me has been the most positive thing that has ever happened. At the time, I didn't see that, but I could say to you that the chances that I have taken, the risks that I have taken, and the support that I've been given have given me great confidence to go forward. Okay, Shade Nivel Vuya, I'm butchering your name, or is that a reasonable attempt at it? It is
absolutely reasonable, yeah. I get called worse.
Shade, your company is called CorkGasCentre.ie. Now, I'm presuming that is involved in the sale of natural gas in some shape or form, so you're probably the only person here who's hoping for a cold winter, are you?
Absolutely, we did a fantastic year last year. The cold snap brought us a huge increase in our business. We are CorkGasCentre.ie up on Forge Hill. We provide sales and services to the domestic, leisure and commercial sector, and basically everything got to do with gas. You name it, we do it.
So what are the challenges that you faced, your company? I think you started around 2006.
2006.
So at the end of the boom, you went into business. You've had to trade through it, which you've succeeded in doing. But it hasn't been easy at times.
Well, because we were coming in, I suppose, in the tail end of the boom, it wasn't easy to start with. So the difficulties were nothing new to us. Year 1, year 2, year 3 trading is always hard. I think anybody would know in a new business. So sort of 4, 5 and 6 weren't anything worse for us than 1, 2 and 3. We really had to learn how to adapt quickly, learning what services and products to cut and which ones to take on new to try and increase our sales where our business was being affected by the market, basically.
We're looking to expand now as well at the moment.
Yes, we're currently expanding. We're looking to take on a new staff member at the moment. We're currently trying to recruit a gas installer, and we're also, after completely demolishing most of our showrooms, and we're redoing those at the moment, gas fire. We sell a lot of high efficiency gas fires.
Okay. My next guest, Peter Bradley, Managing Director of Adapt IT, involved in the computer hardware industry. Again, through the recession, Peter, has it been easy?
It hasn't been easy, no. I mean, obviously in 2009, I suppose if you take 2009 as kind of ground zero, we've had to kind of reflect on, I suppose, expanding our business. We took a kind of a hit on 20% of sales at that time. And we literally, I've 3 partners. We sat down, we wrote down what we needed to do, and that was to divert into different markets. Now, we're in the IT game, as you mentioned, so I suppose we're lucky in that respect that we could actually diversify into new sectors that we thought were growing.
And what do you do now? Because you're at the point where you said your sales are down 20%, but looking towards the next 12, 18 months, what's going to happen with your business?
It's going to grow. I mean, the last 3 years have been very, very good to us. We've taken... I suppose we increased our client base by 120 companies in that 3-year period. Now, if you can do that in the worst recession that we've known in the last 10 years, then obviously we're expecting big things from next year.
Kevin Murray is with us as well. He's an engineering consultant. Kevin, your industry probably took a fair knock given that what happened to the construction sector. So would you share that optimism about the future?
Jonathan, you're absolutely correct. The engineering construction sector that I was involved in, and particularly the water services sector, between 2008 and 2011, something like half of the jobs in the supply chain, perhaps 5,000 jobs, have just disappeared. And
5,000 jobs?
About 5,000 jobs. And these are from figures that we've developed with Engineers Ireland. And so that sector has taken an enormous knock. But there is still a huge amount of work to be done in that sector, and it is, for many people, I think, in my position now, the recession is something that has happened. The recession happened. It's like a big storm that knocks the big trees down in the forest, and now there are lots of spaces for small start-up companies to get involved. And engineering is a very vigorous area. People want to get ahead, they want to contribute, they want to be involved, and they will make a success. And if I might say, yesterday I happened to be in the premises of a major employer here in Cork that provides products for the building sector. They are thriving, and 80% of their product is being exported.
Okay, I want to just go around the group, the 4 people we have here. Honestly, in 18 months' time, predict how your business is going to go and where you'll be. Kevin?
Well, I think in 18 months' time, the area that I work in is water policy, water pricing, those sort of areas. And Jonathan, you will be very aware that that's a time of remarkable change in the sector in Ireland. So I would think that in 18 months' time, there will be a lot more people involved in the water sector.
Mary?
For us as a health and safety training company and as a sole trader, I would foresee that the company will grow in the extent of the amount of training courses that we can provide, the extent of consultancy area that we can grow and also move into in Cork, and maybe employ more people to do that work.
Shade?
In 18 months' time, we'd like to see ourselves as a household name, as specialists in the Munster area for gas, a leader in the market for gas installation, and to have a fully...
And bigger.
Bigger, and fully operational e-commerce website, which I'm currently having rebuilt at the moment.
Peter?
Jonathan, I think as well, we're going to expand. We're going to take on somebody hopefully next year. And the future is bright.
Minister John Perry is here as well. He's the Minister for Small Business at the Department of Enterprise. You couldn't get a better sales pitch than that, Minister. These guys have the optimism. Do you have the ability to deliver the right market conditions for them?
But certainly, just to say, first of all, I'm delighted to be here in Cork at this very important conference, which is very aptly titled Confidence to Grow. It is about this government has a very clear understanding, concern and respect, and will give service to the 200,000 companies employing 650,000 people, because it is the backbone of the economy. It's very important that we state very clearly that the foreign direct investment is at a very high level. If you look at the indigenous Irish companies exporting this year, the exports will be 15 billion. So the real challenge our government is to give confidence, and really
it's these guys with their small businesses creating the 2, the 3, the 4 jobs. They're the ones who are going to get us out of the mess, not necessarily the internationals.
But that's the point I'm saying, that clearly it is the domestic economy, and survival is the new success at the moment. And I think clearly what we want to ensure is that the survival of the 200,000 companies employing 650,000 people, that the government has realistic proposals that will deal decisively with the access to credit, the issue of procurement, the whole cutting down the red tape, making it simpler to do business. And I would have a very clear understanding of the real concerns here and the unique opportunity of the domestic economy, which generates 90 billion.
Finally, Minister, you heard me making reference to it earlier on. 12 months ago, we were talking about releasing credit to small and medium enterprises. We're 12 months on. Standardised form today for the 2 biggest banks, AIB and Bank of Ireland. Now, wishing to be flippant, but it's not the filling in of the form that's the problem, it's the banks.
Without a shadow of a doubt, I think that you must remember that the 3 principles of business is the taxpayer put over 70 billion into the financial institutions of the state at the moment. The principles of business area, and which will be the expectation of government over the next 3 years, 20 billion will be ring-fenced for the SME lending through the pillar banks. And the job of government is to ensure that that money is for viable companies, that they will be able to obtain finance. The government have very clear plans coming out in the coming weeks. Will be a partial loan guarantee, which will not substitute bank lending, but will complement it. We're also introducing a microfinance fund for new companies or new ideas for entrepreneurs to encourage up to 25,000, so that we're very conscious, and we're quite unhappy with the level of lending by banks, because I think as well the talk, we're putting the test to the banks, and the banks will be very clearly policed on the 20 billion to ensure that the money is lent.
I'll come back to you in 12 months' time to see if they've been policed as heavily as you're talking about there. Minister John Perry, thank you very much for talking.